Hello, and welcome to the Killer Voice Studios YouTube channel. I remain, as always, Devin C. Larson, and I'm back with some more voiceover tips to help you improve your delivery. So perhaps the hardest thing to break away from when it comes to a successful voiceover performance is sounding like you're reading, as opposed to coming across as conversational or casual. It can feel like a real catch-22. I mean, obviously you're reading, that's kind of what voiceover is, right? Except if you think about your favorite animation or video game voiceover performance, that didn't sound like reading, did it? It sounded like a character talking. And sure, voice actors frequently ad-lib a line or two, but most of that's pre-written. Here, let me give you an obvious example of what I mean when I'm talking about sounding like you're reading. So here we have a 60-second medical sample script, a royalty-free script that I got from Voices.com sample script library. And I'm going to read it from the standpoint of somebody that has no familiarity with public speaking might do it. You can now book your appointments online through the Clinic Care's website in just 3 easy steps. First, create your patient profile. Next, select your doctor's name from the drop-down list. Note that doctors' names are sorted by location, so make sure that you update your address in the patient profile if you don't see their name on the list. So that's obviously what to avoid. But even with some practice and effort, it's still entirely possible to come across as if you're reading rather than being natural. Here's what I mean. So I'm going to try and read that sample again, but this time I'm going to actually invest some energy and emotion into it, but it's still going to sound a little artificial. You can now book your appointments online through the Clinic Care's website in just 3 easy steps. First, create your patient profile. Next, select your doctor's name from the drop-down list. Note that doctors' names are sorted by location, so make sure that you update your address in your patient profile if you don't see their name on the list. So that's better, right? But it still sounded like I was reading it. So what do we do? Well, a lot of things, actually. Today I wanted to share with you 3 tips that will instantly improve your voiceover performance. So without further ado, So this one is going to feel a little weird at first until you think about the way that people actually talk. Most copy is written for the page, not the way that people actually speak. We phrase things according to how we think. We frequently interrupt ourselves, let one sentence flow into the beginning of the next before pausing and then continuing our train of thought. All kinds of weird, non-grammatical stuff. So the first thing you should be prepared to do when approaching a new script is ignore all the existing punctuation. Periods, commas, pretend they're not even there. Don't be afraid to run 2 sentences together. Pause in the middle of a sentence where no pause is indicated. Don't be bound by the way that it's written. Read it in a way that feels believable. And here we are again with our sample script. This time I'm going to read it in a way that somewhat ignores the existing punctuation and comes across as more natural. You can now book your appointments online through the Clinic Care's website in just 3 easy steps. First, create your patient profile. Next, select your doctor's name from the drop-down list. Note that doctors' names are sorted by location, so make sure that you update your address in your patient profile if you don't see their name on the list. A major element of delivering professional quality voiceover? Making sure everything doesn't sound the same. This is an essential quality your performance must have to be remotely interesting, let alone sound natural in the process. Every sentence shouldn't be delivered with the same energy, inflection, pacing, or volume. And similar to the last tip, treat each thought as a unit or phrase. New thought, new change-up. Also, pay attention to the natural repetitive tendencies that you have when speaking. Do you typically end sentences on a downward or upward inflection? Do you speak at a steady pace and fluidly link your words together, or do you speak more staccato and rapid? Pay attention to these tendencies so that you can consciously make different choices. Variety is what's going to hold your audience's attention. This time, I'm going to read it 2 different ways. The first is going to be kind of the same pacing, energy, etc., so you can kind of get a sense of what this looks like without any kind of change-ups. And then the second time around, I'm going to read it with change-ups, and hopefully you'll be able to hear the difference. You can now book your appointments online through the Clinic Care's website in just 3 easy steps. First, create your patient profile. Next, select your doctor's name from the drop-down list. Note that doctors' names are sorted by location, so make sure that you update your address in your patient profile if you don't see their name on the list. All right, so that's the without. Here we go with the change-ups. You can now book your appointments online through the Clinic Care's website in just 3 easy steps. First, create your patient profile. Next, select your doctor's name from the drop-down list. And note that doctors' names are sorted by location, so make sure that you update your address in your patient profile if you don't see their name on the list. I've covered this tip on a previous tutorial video on visualization, but it's essential for a natural sounding read, so I'm including it here. The surest way to sound like you're reading something is to do only that, literally to read the printed words without acting at all. And the only way to act effectively in a believable manner is to give it all some context. Who are you, the character speaking? Who are you talking to? Where is this conversation or story taking place? What time of day is it? What's the weather like? The more details you can come up with, the easier it's going to be to sound authentic when you perform. You'll sound believable because you've given it enough context to feel believable to you. This is some pretty fundamental advice about acting in general, and unsurprisingly, it's critical in voiceover. So there you have it. 3 tips to immediately elevate your voiceover performance beyond a competently read but artificial sounding delivery. These are the things that I do when I approach a script for the first time to make it sound authentic or believable, and it just so happens that authenticity, regardless of the type of voiceover you're doing, is the primary thing that anyone is looking for. Commercial, narration, animation, it doesn't matter. Believable is the goal. So practice these tips, and I guarantee that in time, your voiceover performance will improve drastically. Thanks for watching my video. Please like, subscribe, comment, and watch this space for future tutorial videos because they are coming. See you next time.